All right, this is the scene overnight. Another attempt on the part of SpaceX, this time to get satellites across the planet Earth. They'll be dotting the landscape every few hundred miles until all is said and done, as Elon Musk wants to bring internet and fast internet of that to every remote corner of the globe. He's been on an aggressive ride of late after the great success of the Dragon mission just completed. Those astronauts returning after 2 months in space. A picture-perfect splashdown. Bob Behnken, the commander, joining us right now. Bob, very good to have you. Congratulations. How are you holding up?
Thank you, Neil. Doing pretty good. We've recovered, kind of got our sea legs, and are really in the full swing of doing our rehab to get ready for debriefs.
You know what is amazing about you guys is how quickly you found your sea legs. I'd have been saying, look, give me a month, I'll get back to you. But I mean, within hours, you're talking to, Nimrod, people like me in the press and all, and one after the other. And that's a big deal. 60 days, weightless, you're back. How did you pull that off?
We really had a good regime on board the International Space Station of exercise, and the commander up there, Chris Cassidy, set a good example for us. And so we just did our workouts, and we just follow the schedule that's put in front of us, and just try to be there, on time for whatever's in front of us, whether it's a spacewalk or it's a splashdown or it's an interview like this.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I noticed you got the pecking order right, or an interview like this. I'm curious, that splashdown was getting a lot of attention because the first time we've done something like this since 1975. How was that? I mean, you guys were the first to experience it in a generation. I mean, how was it?
For both of us, Doug and myself, we were really thinking that might be one of the more challenging parts of the mission, the splashdown, and then riding the little boat that was our spaceship just a few moments earlier in the open ocean. But it turned out, with the weather that we ended up with, things were relatively smooth, and really we were in there just trying to think through what could we do in here to keep accomplishing the test points of the mission. So we made a lot of phone calls and talked to a lot of people around the country to just let them know how we were doing. It's like, hey, we're on a boat in the ocean. Is somebody coming? Just to joke with them a little bit. But it was smooth, just like they told us it was going to be, based on the weather forecast, which made it very pleasant from our perspective.
No, it was remarkable. And now, of course, you're seeing they're already making plans because of your successful mission for the follow-up one next month. I believe that's going to have 4 astronauts, including a Japanese astronaut. And the pace picks up from there. How do you think this is all going?
I think things from a SpaceX and NASA perspective are going really well, but we do need to give the engineering teams time to really pore over that vehicle and make sure there's not anything else that we can learn from it that might change the upcoming mission just a little bit, or require a little bit of a modification or otherwise. The team will pore over that vehicle, and in just a few short weeks they'll be ready for the next flight, whether changes are required or not. I have confidence that they're going to be ready to go pretty quick here.
Yeah, I know one of the things they're looking into, Bob, and you can maybe update me on this, is that they were worried about fumes or that there was a gas presence. You know this far better than I, but that was an initial concern. Can you update me on what happened, what they found, what they were worried about?
When a vehicle comes back from space, the propellants that we've used, they kind of come out of thrusters and ports that are all over the vehicle. And they do need to make some tests to make sure that none of that propellant, whether it's residuals that were burned or unused propellant, is kind of leaking around. And I think that we couldn't tell from inside the vehicle, but a lot of ships, a little boat, seem to get pretty close to the capsule based on some of the pictures that I've seen. And they don't have the luxury of all that sniffer equipment to make sure it's safe to do so, like the SpaceX vehicle did. And so the ship did that ended up bringing us aboard. And so I think that we didn't have anything out of the ordinary, but they were just extremely careful to make sure that the people who were going to get close to the capsule itself were doing so in a safe manner. And that's just something we need to do whenever a spaceship comes back. So we didn't have any leaks, but they were just making sure that they had tested it in all the ways that you could to make sure that it truly was safe for those folks that were going to put their hands on the vehicle.
I think between this 60-plus day mission and your 2 shuttle missions, you've clocked about, what, 93 days in space. And already, I'm sure you see some of these other aggressive plans for still more trips to the space station, maybe a trip to the moon down the road with all these unmanned missions to Mars. Who knows? A manned mission to Mars. They keep talking about that. Are you game for any, all of the above?
I'm really game for, the missions that are in front of NASA. It does take time to be prepared for these missions. I started working with the Commercial Crew Program as kind of an assigned crew member who knew they were going to fly on one of the commercial vehicles, either Boeing or SpaceX, about 5 years ago. These projects are strategic in nature and take some time. And so for a human flight to Mars, I might be a little bit too old, having just turned 50 in low Earth orbit, to be ready to jump onto a Mars mission. But one of the more short-term missions, I'd be happy to jump in there and perform another test flight for somebody given the opportunity. But at the same time, there are other astronauts that we really need to make sure they have opportunities as well. And while we would all like to fly all the missions ourselves, you really do need a diverse crowd of folks getting some opportunities so that we can share the experience and don't build Bobmobiles. We build astronaut transportation vehicles that a lot of people can be comfortable in, not just what Bob would like.
Let me ask you about that, though, because all of this occurs at a time when other nations are beefing up their own space initiatives. China, of course, has been going like crazy, wants to build stations on the moon. It's explored the far side of the moon. The United Arab Emirates, Iran, Russia, of course, has been beefing up its own presence here and abroad. I mean, way outside this Earth-Moon trajectory to far-flung planets. It is getting crowded, and some don't always come with peaceful intentions. Do you worry about that? That there are those who are exploring and those who might be doing something else?
As we go forward and continue, this endeavor, which is, human space flight or space exploration, I think that it's really important to kind of maintain the edge or maintain some position at the forefront of space exploration or the kind of work that we do. And so I would worry if our nation wasn't among the mix or kind of leading the charge of building new vehicles. I think when we choose to not do those things and allow other countries to continue to pursue them, that's when we get set back, both in space, but kind of across the board technologically. And so I'm just proud to have been a part of building a new spacecraft, getting it into low Earth orbit, and being a part of, returning America to launching again from the Florida coast and then coming home safely.
Just amazing. You guys are a rare breed, a selfless breed. So none of you would ever become TV anchors. You just don't have that in you, I guess. But really, you made us all proud, and I think I speak for an entire nation. I say you made us all very, very envious as well. Bob, thank you. I'm glad you're back home with your wife and son. All is safe, all is well. Continued success.
Thank you, Neil. I appreciate it. It was a proud day for America.